Hey guys, welcome back to another brief overview of another killer watch. Um, so this is the Omega Seamaster 42mm, which is the latest version that's come out since 2018. And I've had a few of these before, and I've always loved the improvements it's had over the previous generation, which was the 41mm with the 2500D movement. And I've always had a few issues with some of the things coming up, and felt this model was great. But I've gone through three of these in black and in white, and I always in the back of my mind felt that the blue one was the best one, because for me the blue is synonymous with the Seamaster. I've always seen blue Seamasters. I feel like that's their color, whereas black is kind of the Rolex color and the color you attribute most to those watches. So this time, however, one of the issues I had on the previous ones were I always got them on bracelet, and I'm kind of the thought that if you buy a watch, get it on the bracelet, because it's going to be much more expensive later on to get the bracelet. And if you don't like the bracelet, well, you can always swap it out or sell it. So on the previous two, which I no longer own, I did exactly that. I loved the watch. I just felt the bracelet was outdated in design for me personally. I know there's people who love it. It's 20 millimeters lug width, and it was square, meaning it was 20 millimeters here and 20 millimeters at the clasp. I love the clasp. I love how it's integrated with the quick adjust. What I didn't like is that there was no taper, and unfortunately for me personally, and maybe a lot of other people, the no taper kind of kills it, because it's heavy, it's chunky, and it doesn't seem to be as comfortable. I found there to be multiple pinch points, and for other reasons, I just felt that, okay, I was buying this expensive watch, and here I was compromising on the bracelet. So those two left the collection, and I think I've got a video of the white one up, and an opportunity arose where I was able to get this one in blue, which is the color for me, and on the official Omega rubber. So the last time I had the white one, I think the pandemic had just started and my local Omega boutique had closed down, and the wait time for getting rubber, the official Omega rubber, which you can see here is pretty nice and soft, it's got the integrated lugs, was supposed to be like 5 months. Being like most watch idiot savants, I could not wait. Part of the rush on getting a watch is being able to enjoy it right away. So I couldn't wait, and so I ended up selling those two, and regrets later. But I loved the watch. I loved how it looked, and I felt that this was finally an Omega, especially with the updated movement, that could stand against the Rolexes and maybe even the Tudors. I think I feel Tudors maybe third ranked, Omega, and then it's Rolex, but you get so much more for your money with this new version. So again, let's just go through it. It's 42 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, and why I love it is it's slim. It is comfortable. Sure, they added a sapphire case back, so you can see that beautiful 8800 movement in the back. Pretty cool, and I think that's awesome that they're actually going that way so that they can showcase their in-house movement. This time, as mentioned, I went for the rubber on the official Omega rubber. It's nice and supple. It does taper from 20 to 18, so it's comfortable as is, and I'm sure even if it didn't taper, it would be comfortable, because I love isoframe straps, and none of those taper unless you get up to the 24 millimeter. You can see on here, you've got the Omega, the Seamaster, and then you've got this pretty cool Omega logo on the polished buckle. The improvements, again, I'll go over it again just because I feel it's worth it. The old ones, I had a 41 millimeter Seamaster in blue and in black, both of those again left. Their bezel was atrocious. Sure, it's heavily scalloped, but you couldn't turn that thing if you wanted to, or if anyone put a gun to your head, you couldn't turn it. It would turn when you didn't want it to, which I kind of felt was ridiculous. I am one of those serial bezel turners at work, with family, wherever I'm going. I just like to turn it. Most of the time I am timing something quick, some food, some action, something I got to keep 60 minutes or less timing of. But I could not turn those bezels. The newer one, what they've done is they've made it thicker, right? So this actual polished area, if you see here, is thicker. So sure, it's scalloped, but because they made the bezel thicker, what it does is it allows you to grab it from the sides and turn it and not have any problems with it, which is huge. The bezel action on this thing is great. It's now very reminiscent of the Omega Planet Oceans. It's 120 click. I have zero preference, 120, 60, they're all good. Obviously, lineup is perfect. It is a ceramic bezel insert with the Lume pip. I also like that it's got all white numerals. The older ones, it used to have kind of like a gray, which you kind of had to get in a certain light to kind of see it. The big difference now is they've moved the date. Also, as part of the 8800 movement update, they've moved the date down to 6 o'clock, so there's a lot more symmetry. And at night, when you can check out the Lume, you can actually see it's perfect symmetry, and you still have a Lume marker at the 6 o'clock. The laser waves, now this is just amazing. Let's zoom in a bit. Oops. The laser waves here, just great. And apologies, I mean, lint's gonna be everywhere, but you can just see, and it's a ceramic dial. So you can see there just underneath where all the hands start, you've got the zirconium ceramic. And it's the perfect blue, you guys. I love this blue. This is a more classy watch. It's got the much thicker, almost more three-dimensional, I'd say, because they're probably taller Lume plots for the hour markers. You've got the red tip seconds hand, but you've also got the red Seamaster text. I love that. I like red text, and I'll explain why. Kind of goes in with my, I've had that on my Tudor Pelagos LHD, which I no longer own, but it's also there on the Rolex Sea Dweller 43. So great. My only kind of issue with it would be is I'm a huge Lume guy. This has great Lume. I just want the return of sword hands. I feel like, why would you hog out on a diver? Why would you hog out the hands and not just fill that all with Lume? That's so much Lume potential that you lose out. It's great, but what happens is over a period of time, and depends on what you're okay with, over a period of time, you'll actually see just the tip of both of these, which is cool because they're in different colors, so it's easy to differentiate, but you will not see these little slivers. In the morning when I wake up, it's there, it's good, it's decent enough to last till the morning, but what lasts is usually just the triangle and the circle on the hour hands, the second hands, and then your plop. The pip similarly will die out. So Lume's great. I think Omega's using some combo of BGW9 and Super Luminova, so you've got a mixture of green and blue. The other thing that I love is it's finally got a larger crown, which makes it easier to wind, unlock. I used to have a 2254, which was the original sword hands. Great watch. The crown was tiny, insanely tiny. If you had to do anything, and then in a collection where the watch doesn't get worn as often, every time I pick up a watch, it has to be wound, or the date has to be set, or something happens. I usually wear my watches 2-3 days and then swap them out for something else. And that became an issue for me. I was like, this is tiny. I couldn't wind it, and it was small. So now they finally updated it. I mean, it's not probably Tudor Pelagos big. It's not, Seiko Marine Master crown big, but it's bigger and it's easier to grab. The helium escape valve for me is always closed. I've just never had any use for them. I don't go saturation diving, so for me that's just a useless feature. It's more of a legacy to the original, Omegas. So let's do one thing. Let's get this on wrist. Been requested to kind of start doing these, and I do apologize for not doing them earlier, just so I can share with everyone what's going on. So here it is on wrist. I've got 7.3 inch, maybe 7.4 depending on the weather, inch wrists, and you can see I like to have the watch a little bit snug, but a little bit loose. And the way these rubber straps are, they kind of come straight off the watch. So what happens is they're gonna grip right here on the top and the side, but because of the rubber, it's gonna have a little bit of a gap down here, which for me is fine. It works. It holds the watch, and the watch in the bottom is flat enough. So 7.3 inch wrist, I think it's perfectly fine. It fits. And yeah, comfort level, it's nice and light, and it's because it's slim, it's not top heavy, and it's not going to keep rolling back and forth. So yeah, there you go. That's just a brief overview of this amazing watch. The next video is going to showcase an exciting update, but I'll wait for that one. This is going to undergo a transformation, which I think a lot of you will appreciate. So till then, subscribe, like, put down your comments. I appreciate everyone's updates and comments, and I'll continue to do this. And I just love doing this to just share my watches, but also share the enjoyment with everyone out on YouTube. All right, guys, appreciate it. Cheers.